Hello. I was about to do a live stream. How was your day?
Straight.
Good morning. Thank you so much for tuning in to my news screen. I guess it's a generic term. I saw someone else was using a news screen, and I can't tell you whether or not I made up the terminology, but I know for certain I didn't see anybody else with it. But the fellow that mentioned the news screen seems to have a bigger platform than mine, which is fine. I just want to tell people that a lot of times just because it's bigger doesn't mean that it's better. Reason being is because I remember watching that fellow, and he had a lot of rhetoric as it pertains to, socioeconomical issues, but himself, he doesn't personally walk in that. Just to say what I remember what was going on, because I remember looking at that dude back in the days. So I thought he was genuine until I went on his webpage and I saw it was like some kind of child porn. It was like, for me, it was very close to, a child porn site. Maybe that's not what it was, but I definitely wouldn't vouch with that guy. And I know some people say like you gotta play the game so you can get in there and kind of divide and conquer that way, because black community, we don't need no more shysters. As a matter of fact, no community, we no one needs people out here who are just saying one thing and doing something polar opposite, just as a means of not caring about the small guy. We already seen that with that concert situation. We had too many people who just kind of feel like they could put a price on your head when it comes down to the logistics of things. And personally, I know how it is to have to scratch and scrape. Okay? I'm gonna have to mute my mic so I can adjust it. So please bear with me. All right, so I was just trying to say that I just stepped out here on a means of clarity. A lot of times when you deal with capitalism, you have to understand, women, that if a man or a woman gets paid to degrade you and pretty much kill off itself, technically, because it's too much violence out here, that's a red flag for this is the enemy of the territory. These are enemies. These are what the book of Acts talk about, when you have devils in sheep clothing. So you can have a website, but when you put up information that's tiptoe around the lines of child pornography and whatnot, it's a shame to me that I haven't done anything to get that site taken off. I just want to say it dances on the lines of I never had to really go into it and look at it. I just say that to say, just in case somebody's trying to reach out to me with dialogue and they have like a website that has like, you know, any kind of pornography. I'm not with it. I'm not with it because we're you know, I don't want to drink poison and expect you to die from it. That would be polar opposite of the message. And I know a lot of people say, you know, we're not going to get these folks to really come clean and confess with what they doing unless you play your, you know, you go ahead and play, you know, checkers with them or whatever. I'm just saying life is too short. There's other ways, more than one way to, you know, allow justice to ring. So I just want to say today that's a no, but just, you know, so they'll know what's going on, because I was the only one who said Newsstream, but like I said, I don't have a patent on it or anything like that to wage a war against anyone or something like that. If you want to do a Newsstream, that's fine. I just want the ladies to know that with all shine and glitz, you know, it's too many, unfortunately, it's too many people who get to capitalize off of what I look like and who I am. And it's unfortunate when those people are in your house, so they take the seat of not a protector but of a predator, and there's no excuse for that. But I'm sure you have some. All right, so as we mosey on over here to the feature stories in so many words, because I have a lot to talk about. The first one is with Idris Elba. I know I'm saying his name wrong, but I just wanted to commend him. I'm gonna turn down my elevator music because I know it's kind of, it may distract some. It just kind of helps to set my you know, mood. Not to say, oh, you one of those moody people. There's a lot going on. I mean, when you're playing and you betting odds on other folks, and you're not actually in the game, you're more on the sideline. You know, maybe you'll come off with very good, you know, up and up all day long, you know, very dapper. But before I talk about Idris and the hostage situation, I wanted to talk about this beautiful young woman right here, young lady, Relisa Rudd. She's been missing 3 years now from the D.C. area homeless shelter. Please contact the D.C. police with information. And I'm going to scroll up on this and read the clip that came with it. It says, today, which is there today, would have been March. Okay, so it's more than 3 years. It's 17, that's 5. It's been 5 years. But anyway, this first paragraph says, today throughout the noise about Donald Trump and his lies, I heard her name for the very first time. The sweet little 8-year-old girl, which is the same age as my precious daughter Savannah, has been missing for 3 long years. She lived in the D.C. area homeless shelter with her mother before she was last seen on camera with a janitor at the facility. That janitor in March 2014 was suspected of killing his wife and days later committed suicide. While many people presume Relisa is dead, clues of her whereabouts have gone cold. She has vanished. So people, I know that, you know, people just want to live their life. They don't want to be serious all the time. But if we can just pray for these girls, you know, United States is allegedly because I don't have the data in front of me, but I read it before, that United States is one of the biggest consumers of human trafficking, and this is how it looks. It looks like just poking fun at black women. It looks like just poking fun at her getting beat up and down the street like she a man, as if she can't have a role unless it's subservient, and that's just ridiculous. Let me give you the case in point. Let's say your goal is to follow behind a movie star because you're just starstruck. But let's say this young woman's goal is to make something out of herself in the value, education, and knowledge. So obviously, same height, same weight, a male is going to be stronger than I am. All right, on the physical aspect, we are not supposed to be in contact sports with men, and it's unfortunate that you have other men that feel like a woman who may have higher intellect or even low intellect is supposed to have a subservient role to a man just because she was born a female. And so we have too much of that. We have too many men out here in this world that feels like a woman should be subservient to a man because she was simply born a woman. Nothing to do with intellect, but more so to do with barbarism, being barbaric towards her. So common sense would tell a man that I should check myself because there's no other man out here that can check me. If I look at my father, and if I look at my father's father and down the line and other people's fathers, where's my example? Well, you know what? That's not an excuse for me not to be the best I can be and develop my own skills and who I am. I don't need to beat up on a woman in order to make money. And if you make that my choice, I will take the high road. We're looking for those kind of men. Those are the men that we'll feel safe around. Men who step up and say, I'm the reason why this world is this bad because I'm the one who's around here beating up on the marginalized because I get paid for it. All right, so it's very unfortunate. We just want to pray over Miss Felicia Rudd. We're praying that the comforter will be sent to her loved ones and comfort her as well in her time of need. In Jesus' name we pray, amen, amen. All right, amen. I have a lot of stories here to read, so let's start off with Idris Elba was talking about there's violence, too much violence going on, and I just wanted to commend him because he could just be really promoting his next big gig, but instead he's being an advocate for No More Red campaign, and this is coming out of London. So this came out, this is a week old actually. Well, almost a week. It says Idris Elba has condemned the continuing knife crime epidemic in London. The Luther star backed the No More Red campaign launch between his beloved Arsenal FC and Adidas while attending his side home tie against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. Now that was a lot of information. I think that doesn't. Arsenal FC and Adidas while attending his side home tie against Nottingham Forest at the weekend. Sporting the initiative flagship white jersey, which was worn by Arsenal instead of their usual red tie, while appearing on ITV Football, Idris stopped presenter Mark Pochach and Puditz Roy Keenan and Land Wright is absolutely in response to the knife crime crisis that we're not going on. Last year 30 kids, and I'm not going to say kids, died senselessly over knife crimes. And the year before that, it's ongoing problem. Ian and I teamed up with Arsenal and Adidas to make a point and say something about it. The Wire Star works as the mentor for the scheme, which aims to tackle the root cause of youth violence and provide safe spaces and opportunity for our young people, and believe it can send a powerful message. Idris continued, no more red literally means no more bloodshed. That's what we're going for. Just to put it out there, no more bloodshed. We can do something. Football is watched by teenagers. We all join football as teams. If we want to stop the violence, I unfortunately don't have an answer for that, because looking at how this stuff starts up and why is it going on, you could say it's socio-economical reasons, meaning people don't have enough to survive, so they want to rob Peter to pay Paul, in so many words. And then it looks like we have domestic terrorism where people are getting into gangs. That's what it seems like. But I'm pretty sure that's not a cookie cutter explanation, that there's other situations that arise. So each story is different, but I believe it's along the line of domestic terrorism, where people are just trying to muscle people out of what they have because they don't have. And it's one thing when you don't have and you're willing to be homeless because you don't have until things get right. But it's another thing to not have and rather rob and steal. Those kind of people, whether I want to accept it or not, can't be talked to if you look at it. Now, if they're a child, then that's the difference, because evidently they've been influenced by the wrong elements. But Texas rabbi held hostage in synagogue for 11 hours, grateful to be alive. Amen. The Texas rabbi held hostage for more than 11 hours in his own synagogue Saturday, spent the morning thanking those who got him out alive. Rabbi Charlie Clayton Walker was one of the 4 people trapped inside of Coleyville's congregation, Beth Israel, while a man described by officers as a gunman held them hostage and called for the release of Afia Squiddy, a 49-year-old Pakistani woman serving an 86-year sentence at the prison in Fort Worth for shooting at 2 FBI special agents. U.S. Army warrant officer and Army captain and military interpreters in 28. So let's go back over that real quick. It said the gunman held them hostage and called for the release of a Pakistani woman who's at the Fort Worth for shooting FBI agents. Rabbi Charlie Clayton Walker was held hostage Saturday, and he's very thankful to be out. All right, so that's terrible to hear about. So Another, let's see. Before we get into like more violent crimes, all right. So we have I'm gonna say that name wrong. Kiara D. Amonto, 37-year-old mom of two, set American record with 2 hours, 19 minutes, and 12 seconds at Houston Marathon. So, the running journey included years away from the road, the birth of two children, and an injury let down to at last year U.S. track and field Olympic qualifiers. None of that held her back from becoming the fastest woman to run a marathon. So that's just something that's also on a positive note. Someone is doing something positive. Um, so that's very interesting. 37, mother of two, she just won a marathon. Now, are daddy long legs really the most venomous spiders in the world? You probably heard this playground legend. Daddy long legs are the most venomous spiders in the world, but you can't see this article, can you? All right, hold up. Let me fix up my screen some. There you go. The short answer, no. But to reach that answer, we're going to have to get a few things straight. First, what are you calling a daddy long leg? Said Rick Vetter, a retired research associate of entomology at the University of California, Riverside. Vetter has been busting this particular myth for years. The problem is that the term daddy long legs is used collagically to refer to at least three different animals, only one of which is a true spider. That animal is also known as a cellar spider in the family Pholocide. Pholocide. Let's get the pronunciation of that. It's not. I could. It's another way we could figure out how you say that, but I'm thinking it's full side. Like other spiders, it has two body segments, eight eyes, and fangs, complete with venom ducts and venom glands. Then there are harvestmen, which are arachnids in the order of Oplonids. Unlike spiders, these animals have a single body segment and only two eyes, and they don't have fangs or venom glands. So to answer the question, they're not more venomous, but there's like three different categories of spiders that they all call daddy long legs. So I didn't know that. Then empty bottles of whiskey are fetching hundreds of dollars on eBay as counterfeiters buy them for scams. As whiskey scams continue to abound, empty bottles are selling for hundreds of dollars on sites such as eBay to counterfeiters who fill the empty bottles with cheap liquor and sell them for thousands of dollars. Empty bottles, a premium brand of whiskey such as Pappy Van Winkle's, Old Fitzgerald, and Mac Colin, are selling for hundreds of dollars on sites such as eBay, according to reports from the New York Times. These bottles are being snatched up for as much as $380 by counterfeiters who fill the bottles with cheap booze and resell the bottles for way over $2,000. Hollywood writer and producer Adam Hertz told Inside in May. Part of the problem is the culture I see around bourbon, where it is about bragging rights and being able to Instagram a bottle you just bought. All right, so that's just something that we better be mindful of. Some people want to buy a bottle of alcohol online, and what's going to happen is, all right, hold up. Okay, also, this employer will terminate unvaccinated workers by January 31st. Will more follow suit? So many people thought by the time 2022 rolled around, we'll be in a better place with regards to the COVID-19 outbreak. But unfortunately, the presence of the highly transmissible Omicron variant has managed to dash those hopes. In fact, we're starting off 2022 with high record case numbers and healthcare systems across the countries that are increasingly getting overwhelmed. Now, there's another channel that I watch. Is an actual professor though. He says that China numbers are better. China makes up a quarter of the population. They've polluted a quarter of the world's water supply. But technically it's like four times many as them, but they only have like 1% of COVID. I don't know about y'all, but I just don't. I understand that their numbers are saying that the COVID over there is manageable. However, I have a hard time believing that everybody gets their fair shake over there in China. Let me give you an example. They have the countryside folks that live kind of still in the woods. You know, of course, it's more frugal that way, but it's also hard work. It's like a lot of cultivating the ground and living off the earth. So, from my understanding, those people kind of looked at as peasants. They're not really going to be counted as much because, you know, that's a lot of footwork to get through those, uh, the countryside that they're on. But nevertheless, I haven't done the numbers. And based off what China is saying, their numbers are awesome. Like, they don't even have COVID over there. So it's like go figure, you know. It makes you wonder, does everybody count? And we seriously doubt it. I seriously doubt it. So far, Citgo Group seems to have the most aggressive vaccine policy among Wall Street firms. While many companies are imposing vaccine mandates, so far no other major players have firmly announced a termination date for non-compliant workers. So, Synagogue Group, anybody working for them, they're going to let folks go if they're not vaccinated by the 31st, or however much that means to folks. Now, we have a mysterious substance oozing from the ground in West Maui draws concern. I know that's not how you pronounce that. Let's see if we can.
Follow. React 125 comments.
That's another way we can get it to speak, but it's not going to speak.
React 125 comments. Follow.
Nope.
React 120. React 125 comments. Follow.
It has to
React
be.
125 comments.
Environmentalists are demanding answers about an unknown substance oozing from the ground in West Maui. The tar-like material was found on the spike of the Long Shutter sugar mill in Lahaina. It's unclear exactly what it is, but environmentalists and residents who live nearby want it cleared up immediately. We know that historically that when the mill was operating, they were storing and using all kinds of chemicals which wouldn't be allowed today. And I don't know to what extent they've ever cleared it up, said Lahaina resident Kirk Boyce. Now, that says that they hired someone to survey the area. Excuse me. It smells like rancid oil. The Trinity Environmental Solution company. So it says she followed the smell to a tank located on the west end of the property. The area was covered with wooden pallets. Um, Gusman said it's unclear the depth of the patch, but it was approximately 40 feet in diameter. So it's on the property near a coffee mill. All right, so there's just so that's all that's been said is that there's a mysterious substance, but no one knows if it's hazardous. Now they also located a gene that could stop antibodies from working. Now they found this in the sewage for the first time. An antibiotic resistant gene has been identified in the U.S. Wastewater sample for the first time, indicating that it may have a foothold in the country. You know, as we continue, it says this gene poses a threat to the medicine colistin, a last result antibiotic that can be used when other drugs fail. Now, the MCR gene has been detected in the U.S. before in samples collected from hospital patients. However, scientists have not identified a version of the gene in a sewage sample from a waterways treatment plant in Georgia. So we got more sick people at the house versus in the hospital. The only problem with having sick people in United States doing this little human trafficking situation, consumerism, where the marginalized are not being protected, and in some cases when women retaliate and kill these domestic violence criminals, she's often given extreme time versus like a self-defense type of situation, and that's very unfortunate. So it shows you that the judges are also getting some sort of a hand kickback. Not all of them, but there's a possibility that some of them are getting kickbacks. Now, I'm sure in their defense they would say like some of these folks come in the courtroom may come through with like some type of harassment that like everybody can't handle harassment, and to tell you the truth, it's the smarter thing to do to go ahead and take the bribe and go sit down somewhere versus, standing on your principles and then your family suffering. But, each to their own. Not everybody can stomach it. They talk about in the scripture, there's a phrase. It's not necessarily in the Bible, but it talks about, well, it could be. I'm sorry, it's been a while. I'm a little rusty. Hold up. I haven't read this verse in a while, but I believe it's along the lines of, see, I was supposed to have wrote it down, but I didn't. But so we was talking about that there's more sick people in the house. versus in the hospital. And so some people may feel like it's okay. It's just that they don't know whether or not this COVID can get worse. And then see, you have too many people out here who only care about a dollar bill, to where if somebody tells them to take this and do that, they'll do just that and just end up causing people to have to live worse off than what they would if they could just go worry about their own business and go find their own skills and talent to profit off versus off of marginalized people. Because if you think that a man is just going to be one way with a woman and then be completely different with his kids or other people's kids, it's a little too late in the game. But so yeah, the problem is that we got everybody living on top of everybody. And for the people who was benefiting off of that, because as we see with allegedly the polyester king Peter Nygaard, he benefited from what we used to call back in the days, what they that country word, coating, like dating marginalized women and then putting them in very vulnerable situation financially, when he would lie and say, yeah, I'm a pregnate you. Allegedly, this is what some victims said, that he said, we're gonna have kids and blah blah blah. But once the kids come, he's flipped the switch and says, you're gonna need an abortion, so you could further your career. He then takes that aborted fetus stem cells and inject it into his back, so that he can, what he believes, have a longer life. Now, he's been arrested since, and he's also asked to be able to continue that treatment. So they was looking through that man's money because he's very rich, very big in the fashion industry. He's a bigwig. And they said they couldn't figure out, this is what the reporting company compiled, and it wasn't the regular police. They actually hired, private investigators and paid a lot of money to investigate this. But they said his money was actually tied into the women. So I was trying to figure that out because that's all they said. And I was watching this. So it wasn't like I could ask questions, but the thing they said was the women were tied into his business because they could not figure out where his money was coming from. And then it dawned on me, what if, ladies, you're dating a guy who, for whatever reasons, has become an incel, and he feels like women are here just to better his financial lifestyle, and that's not theirs. It'd be completely manhandled and have the wall pulled over their head just to prove the point that I guess that, there's just some folks out here that are not about anything other than taking advantage of folks, marginalized people, for $1. So basically what I came up with was, so what that means is that the money was tied into it. So let's say, for example, I don't know, Belinda is dating Bobby. Bobby is very attractive, but he grew up whatever the way he grew up, and he took the red pill and realized that, hey, the only way he can be with a woman is if he's beating and drugging her. He's grooming her like no other, and that's the point. So and even if he wanted to be a decent guy, he could never muster that up in his stuff because he has no idea, no clue how to be just a regular human being, let alone somebody's boyfriend. So, nevertheless, he's made connections to where all he has to do is bring a incapacitated female, don't matter how old this female, it could be an infant, into said location at said time, and he'll get maybe money, maybe jewelry, maybe you know whatever kickback it is. That's what he gets. So in exchange of victimizing a woman, he gets rewarded, whether it's some form of a kickback, social status, jewelry, car, clothes, money, whatever. That's how Peter Nagar's alleged, that's how his money was. So it's technically like saying, hey, we'll let you stay in this big mansion because you got 30 marginalized women over there at this sad location ready to be manipulated because they're incapacitated, or can be once I, give the signal. And, ladies, we need to be fully aware of this, that you're the actual buck. You're the buck. And the reason why I say this is not to incite a war or anything, although I do believe this is a gender war. Because the reason why it's a gender war, because you have some places on this planet, as a woman, you would probably prefer suicide than to live there. And we have to be aware that if one woman hurt, we all hurt. It should be common sense to man that if one woman hurt, then we all hurting. But these guys, unfortunately, all over the globe are monetizing after taking advantage of marginalized people. And although they should be ashamed of themselves, they shall not. They would never be ashamed of themselves. They will never admit this. Not in a way of saying, hey, girls and gals, I'm nothing. And I know I'm nothing. Not only that, I get paid to be nothing. And I can't apologize to y'all for taking advantage of y'all, because, I just take life for granted and don't realize and fail to be able to realize that there's more to life than just shiny cars and shiny objects and fast things. Shiny objects and fast things. There's more to life than that. With the Corvette doing the thing it's doing, killing almost 1 million people. No one knows how this is going to go. And this is a time where we can self-reflect and say, hey, it's wrong for me to human traffic women and do all kinds of wrong things. There's cities and towns that have little kids that come up missing and then get returned like 2-3 days later. This is right here. We talking about little girls that look like you and I. And we over here worried about what I'm wearing, what my hair look like, if it's straight, if she's ghetto or not. Instead of worrying about how my health is doing, how are you in a safe place? That's what you should ask black women, but not in a condescending manner, as if you don't care, you just want to make money. The sad thing is that it looks like it's just too easy for men, especially black, to be a part of incels, an organization that that commits gender-based violence. And the sad thing is a lot of guys don't know it's gender-based violence. I mean, they know what they're doing. They know what they're saying is gender-based violence. One thing being gender-based violence is if a woman tells you no and you go on the stalking campaign, you're stalking her. You know, ladies, if you're getting stalked, do understand that it has nothing to do with you got the best cookie in the world, you look the finest thing on planet on this tarnation. That ain't it. You're tied to this person's lifestyle. They want this fancy car, they want to look like they something, they have to stalk you. And that's the thing about it. We're waiting for that same guy that's stalking us for some odd reason. We want him to protect us. Where that defies logic. If a man is disrespecting me just simply because of something, I cannot change my color. I cannot change my gender. I can't change what God made me. So if a man comes out and he steps out there and he put himself on a platform to disrespect me just because of characteristics that I was born with and I can't change, common sense tells us this man cannot turn around and now protect me. He already chose his side. And his side is to pretend to be fake and phony so that the marginalized will let down their guards, so then they could swoop in with that old game that folks like to run. And I hate to say this, but I just want people to be aware that it's time to change. It's time to change. This Corvid can do whatever it wants to do. Not only that, you have bad weather coming in. Not only is the weather bad, you got an animal. I got a story right here where an animal walked into a regular marketplace store. So when animals flee their natural habitat, that's no good. That's no good. We know this because most articles that I read say that, like, that's one thing to know, like how to live off the land. But if you see a herd of animals just like they like running, like they was in a shootout or something, in so many words, something is troubling the land. It's time to, something is coming up. They can hear it and they sense it and they know it, and their other senses are greater than ours, where ours, are greater in some areas than theirs. But they have their own niche. And so, when they moving away, man. So for me, it's gender. It's gender issues. I can tell you, being a female, that it just take one bad apple and it spoils the bunch. So I could definitely say that my experience definitely is unique. To have someone stalking you for the past 2 decades is mind-boggling. And for that person to have been in a relationship with you before as a spouse, it makes you really wonder, Black women, are we okay? Your spouse is not supposed to be stalking you. There's no reason. There's no reason to stalk people. So I have this little stalker song that I have to play from time to time. I think I might have to turn it on. But it's for my stalker, because what they do is, women, it's too late in the game to think that your pastor can't be somewhere hitting the crack pipe. If you doubt that, then that's a good indicator that he does or she does. But let me give you this. I say that to say this, and I'm not saying every pastor around here with a pipe. All I'm saying is, sisters, that man, he can hide, people can hide stuff from you that you would be surprised that all this time you was married to a smoker or something. People keep some things about them a secret. Some things about people they'd rather die. But to be I met my stalker in like grade school. So there's a great conspiracy of some sort that this individual could have conspired against me at a very young age with adults, with other family members. Now, it's the reason why I come up with that is because I read a book that this woman personal experience was she was being molested, and she ended up having her first child like at 12, and she was in school pregnant. This was back like in the 60s though, 50s, to where color folks who really was just being able to go to regular schools, like where it could be possible that other nationalities are there. So things was moving slow, I guess you could say, but that's just not proving a point that black women are being the least protected. And then we're being asked, well, what are you gonna do about it? As if the COVID is not enough. You got wars and rumors of wars. That's not enough. You got national disasters in diverse places. That's not enough. You have your own people in your house forsaking you, and that's not enough. They want to also put the cherry on the top and say, and what are you gonna do about it? As if that's what they should fix their mouth up to say. How dare you? How dare you? What you supposed to be saying is, black women at least protected. That's why I blase, and fill that in with something that you're doing to prove that you're not a part of that agenda. Are you a part of that agenda of taking advantage of marginalized people? But yes, I've read a book, very good book. I forgot the name of it, but if anybody needs me to come up with the name of it, and I'm sorry, I'm not looking at the chat. I just kind of want to come in here, and it's just that when I read the news, I just feel like other people need to know this, because sometimes when I have conversations with people, they looking at me like, no, I never heard that. Where you get that from? And I'm like, that was just like in last week's, paper that was. Because this is a little differently than from Emily World, a red dress when she's supposed to have on white. I'm just saying, for example, when some people start talking about stuff that I have no clue what they're talking about either, usually more like social issues and stuff like, today was this some sort of social day that everybody know about. So, to continue with this article, because like I said, I hate to go down that dark and gloomy road. It's just that women, it's too late in the game if we out here thinking that brother man from the fifth floor or whatever you want to call him. Because the thing is, if we just leave Pookie and Ray Ray behind and Keisha and them, the Bible tells us, I believe in the book of Acts, again, that we supposed to put, those aggressive folks out of the church. It says to put them out the church. We're not supposed to be around violent, abusive people. The Bible says to put them out of the church. So what I've been, on the level of is, okay, now it says obey the laws of the land. And then how do you come from up out of certain situations when stuff is cricket to a certain extent, because everybody's not being treated the same? How come when women are put in a self-defense situation, if they don't have it recorded, they get like the max sentence, as if they're penalized for not condoning domestic terrorism via, domestic violence, harassment, stalking, unwanted contact, and by proxy it get bad to where they'll have other people, um other people do it. And then they have all different sorts of devices that they use to get people to do stuff that don't want to. And you think of it, you name it, you claim it, because the sky's the limit when it comes down to what criminals are willing to do, so that they can live that lifestyle, that shiny and fast lifestyle, that's the only thing worth living for. You have people around you that take life for granted. Now, it's one thing to be homeless, because I've been homeless before, and I know that's no way of living. I have to take care of my family as well, and in so many words fell off. Now, I didn't know it at that time, but it was because of my values. I didn't necessarily know that I was being stalked for the longest. It's funny because that's how much I can say and admit that I was on my grind. It wasn't me. That was all luck. It was just God and me through the wilderness. And I can say that from my heart. And I know I don't want to get, estrogen like. But that's my experience with dealing with stalking and human trafficking. Human trafficking meaning, a man can be rich, but he doesn't have money. You don't never hardly ever see him with cash, or he starts talking cash, he starts acting like a crackhead, like he got a tick. Like, his cash is marginalized people. Now, this is just a hunch. I don't have proof. I'm pretty sure maybe they still have to have money. Maybe they get like a huge discount. Who knows? But I'm sure the possibilities are endless. But ladies, this is not it looks like, well, if I have a higher or elite social economical class, that I am immune to being treated like a marginalized person being human trafficked. But we all know that all right, so we started up again with the loud noises. Sometimes you could look out the window and it's so funny, but you don't even see the car, but you hear all these sounds. And so I came, as I was recording and stuff, and I had put it on live, my what I was seeing, like, so y'all can see, it was like really, really bad, to where someone was saying that what's probably happening is that there's somewhere where they're probably buying substances, and they're being told that they can't do it out there in that yard, so they're driving around and picking up other people or whatever as they go and get high and go back to get some more. So they'll have this like convoy of noise, but then they'll start moving those drug trucks, so you have to be careful. And this is just a hunch. I mean, I'm not saying like this is exactly what's going on and blah, 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 blah. I'm just saying keep your eyes and ears to the street as much as possible as you can, because that's a job in itself. Like, that's what private investigators get paid to do. So, being a black woman, not only do we have to take the role of being a provider and a protector, we also gotta be the police in your own home, and your own private investigator in your own home. So, be mindful that they on the recruit. A lot of these guys don't even like, for my other hunch, which I'm pretty sure that there are some guys who prefer to be with men but they'll go both ways if it's going to, in so many words, further their career development. So they address like DFAB, meaning like they address like the way they was born or whatever, the gender they was born. Because you know you could usually should be able to pull that off very well, but they don't. They are not attracted. They're not heterosexual men. They have a desire to be with men. And for the longest, I was thinking that these guys seem like although they act weird and funny, like they want to talk to me, and although I feel like they genuine about how they feel about me, it's just in their eyes or in their aura, it just seems like they really desire a man, but they don't want to tell me that. That's for my stalker. If I don't play it, I don't get a break with the noise combo. I mean, it's really pathetic, but I'm like, only reason why I do this is because I know I'm not the only one in this situation, and maybe this can help someone else. Now, I am a Christian. I'm a Christian, and the law doesn't permit me to be a predator to a predator. It doesn't. I'm not, the law doesn't permit me to do but so much. And for my peace and quietness, I don't want to hear my voice all day, but over sirens and loud talking and noise that the stalker do, I play that as a meditation. Because what the stalker is, a lot of times the stalker, let's say there's a strong possibility that your stalker doesn't get like any kickback from what he's doing. He's actually doing it for clout. Those are the worst kind, that they don't want to get paid for what they're doing. They just doing it so that they look good in front of another guy. So you might say, why don't you just play church music then instead of for that? Well, this right here tells his minions or other people that may not know who he is. So I'm pretty sure he's not telling people, hey, I want to go over here and stalk this girl. He's not saying that. He's saying stuff like, that girl over there, she a prostitute. And he say, he'll say stuff to where the way he's saying it, and he's so consistent that he has to be telling the truth. Why would someone do all of that? And that's a lie? It just seems like there's no way possible that someone go through these sorts of extremes of stalking you, monitoring you. And fellas, don't try to talk to no woman and you are with and ladies, don't try to date people that you've been in some room monitoring on a screen. We can feel that. We feel little hairs, and whatever you try to do, it don't cancel that weird vibe you give folks that when you monitor, that's women. When these men do all this stuff to us, we need to really be patting ourselves on the back. Because if you think that he's just stalking you like by himself, he got other folks watching you. He'll start harassing your neighbors and make them call whenever you leave. He'll even try to date the girl with the kids and pretend to be that Uncle Randy guy just so he could be in there playing with them. And then they be so aggressive with their agenda that's always a red flag. Lady, if a guy just has to take care of your kids so you can go to work, it's not because he wants to. It's not because he wants to be. I don't know why a man would like want to ever have sex with a woman and like kill her, like for no reason. Like you've been staying with her for years, not paying rent, and she just wants you to leave, and you feel like you should just kill her for that after you just had sex with her and just nothing, no kind of emotions with it or anything. And ladies, if you sit down and think about it, if you wanted to just sit and hide for a couple of hours, like 24 hours, and do something to somebody, there's nothing there's nothing that will stop you from doing that other than your own conscience. So, like I said, there's people out here who just don't take life. They don't appreciate life, and they take their life for granted and yours. And there's no point, there's no rhyme, there's no reason. It's kind of like you're all of that to that person. You're just, they just wish they could be you so bad. And it's not real easy to understand this when they're the opposite gender. It's kind of hard for someone to be jealous of you. But a stalker is not, doesn't have the right terminology. A stalker should be looked at as like a American pimp, a human trafficker, a criminal, because that's what he is. He's not stalking you because you're so cute or your cookie's so good. He's stalking you because he doesn't value your life, and he feels like your life is what he needs to gobble up so he can live the lifestyle he's always dreamed of. And it doesn't matter if he walks from up under a bridge or a rock. That's his shiny lifestyle. It's too late in the game to feel like this man is not going to try to take advantage of me. But like I said, I hate playing this because I'm like live. But I am a Christian. Again, I said that I'm pretty sure there's other people going through this. You just can't have a peace of mind without. And so I'm not going to mute it anymore when the sirens come. What you'll be able to do is just hear the sirens and how bad they are. And the sad thing about it is you can actually listen to, like if you have those trucking radio scanners, you can listen to the stalker voice, using the same voice, and call these EMS companies, the ambulance. He's calling the city with prank calls, and they don't get in trouble. Now, I've seen some people have like harassing phone call charges, and I guess that's what that's about, because they do try to figure this out. But a lot of times with certain with criminals, who knows what they do, who knows what they're willing to do. But a lot of it is just for clout, and it's kind of like being a bully or something like that. I I can't go outside and just, you know what I'm saying, approach people like that. It's just not human. It's just not humane. Because on the flip side of the fence, I can't necessarily say that these people know what's going on. Do you know that you're stalking when you just run your sirens for just a little square meter of the road, and then you doing it at that same spot consistently throughout the entire day, 24/7? So, but yeah, you can hear them, you can hear the stalker actually calling. And so, stalkers, these sorts of human traffickers, because that's what a stalker is. He's a human trafficker, and he given the chance, I do believe, given the chance, that he'll take my life. He'll take my life if he's given a chance. Now, you may wonder to yourself, if you believe that, why isn't he like right here with me? I don't like him as a man. And I'm not going to just allow you just to be in my space. Like let's say if I see him at Walmart, I'm going to turn around and leave, because that's not my home. But this is where I lay my head at. I do actually have a right. I do have a right. I do have a right, but I don't want to have a lifestyle where I can't leave the home like I'm some type of movie star or something. I can't leave the fucking house. Excuse my French. But in this person's world, I'm like, I don't know. I guess I'm like a LeBron's. I don't know, because I'm pretty sure he wouldn't try to put his hands on LeBron. But when I think about it, I think he probably would try him, because he goes both ways, and he'll probably try to take nudie pictures of. Like, he'll probably would try to take advantage of him, because he goes that way. And again, his goal is to live that shiny lifestyle, and that's what he's real big on. But the problem with it is that he's a good actor, and he plays a role. So he's not a thug. I don't do the thug thing. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. But let me get back over here to these stories, because I had lost track, because this one kind of angered me. Okay, so unvaccinated people are definitely too immune compromised. So it says, this is a doctor's opinion, and this is what, someone's, let's see what it says. It says nearly 10 million Americans are immunocompromised, and I am one of them. I am 78, retired Air Force. I'm also a physician, and lucky to have doctors Fairway and turn treating my B-cell lymphoma at Mayo. Unfortunately, my immune therapy prevents B electrolytes from making COVID antibodies. In both May and December, my antibody levels were 0. I cannot risk treatment by unvaccinated techs, nurses, or doctors. Such non-professionals should always be fired from patient care. No excuses, no bonus notes from mom or doctor. Every unvaccinated person is a potential assassin for me. Naturally, the governor discouraged COVID immunizations, preferring treatment. Perhaps he'll work on measles next. Among many things he apparently doesn't know is the fact that treating COVID, instead of preventing infections, endangers all immune compromised individuals. So I do wonder if the people who are not vaccinated feel like it's okay to be that way, because if anything, they're going to make people who are vaccinated sick before a vaccinated person make them sick. Now, don't put that in stone. It's just a hunch. Next story is about 2 women drowned in Peru due to the Tonga volcanic eruption. So this is just terrible. We definitely want to send the Holy Spirit to the grieving family in their time of need. In Jesus' name, amen. 2 women drowned on the beach in northern Peru due to anomalous waves registered after the volcanic eruption in Tonga, more than 10,000 kilometers away, local emergency services said on Sunday. Now, the 2 women drove on Saturday, and here's we can let this actually play. I'll try to turn down the Stalker song, but I doubt it. They just, like I said, you know, we don't need no more rappers and all these folks and stuff that like get paid to technically make nursery rhyme type songs for criminalized and marginalized women and children. And they getting heavily compensated. And, you know, for someone to be able to make noises like that, like if I was, and I could probably try to do that tomorrow, but it's very irritating. And I don't like doing it. I mean, I want to let y'all in, but I don't know about like that. But I would like for y'all to kind of bear witness to how it's hard to think. Now, that aspect of it is how the Nazis were treated with that. There was a record player that those Nazis would play for the Jewish. And what it does, it'll make you, it's pretty much like training an assassin. Yeah, just like, think about those old army movies where they would take the people and they'll strap them down and they make them keep their eyes open and watch like really horrible stuff forever, because it's like it reprograms you. So it's just the way it goes. If I don't say anything or do anything, it makes you wonder about the conspiracy of the black woman in white America. Because it's mind-boggling to how the city, meaning the government, would allow that type of discord and crimes to just go unchecked. And it'll get pretty bad. I mean, if I just sit in here and just mind my business, and then the next confrontation I have, which I hope I won't have any, because I had to have a confrontation, I'll let y'all see it. But I have to do some yard work. I do a little bit of landscaping, so I think I'll let y'all see that. And plus, like, if anybody know those cars or whatever, or know what kind of technology they're using, some of it you can tell that they have like a screen, like a film over some of those cars. Like, some of that stuff just doesn't even look, it looks like it's on a Hollywood set. It looks like, now we can't necessarily say Hollywood is just lending stuff out to Pookie and Ray Ray, but what we can say is that criminals steal and lie. And so we never know what really happened. But let's play this and see what happens.
Someone in connection to that deadly shooting inside an East Harlem Burger King last weekend. The victim was a 19-year-old cashier. It is a case that has led to an outpouring of grief from this community, of course, and calls for action to reduce gun violence in the city. Eyewitness News reporter Shantae Lands is live in East Harlem with the very latest. Shantae, good morning.
Good morning, Tony. A man was picked up in Brooklyn and brought into police for questioning, but so far this morning no charges have been filed. Meanwhile, a memorial grows here behind me outside the Burger King where that 19-year-old female cashier was shot and killed, and last night they held another vigil for 19-year-old Crystal Bayra Nieves. She was shot and killed during a robbery early Sunday morning inside the Burger King at East 116th Street and Lexington Avenue here in East Harlem. That shooting happened around 12:45 a.m. This is a 24-hour Burger King. Police say a man went inside that store, demanded money, and shot the 19-year-old in her chest. There is surveillance video of the shooting, but the suspect completely covered his face and wore gloves. The shooter ran away with just $100. Now, loved ones this morning say they want justice for Crystal.
We don't have to take our streets back. They belong to us. We will take them over.
We will not allow this to be our city, that when we say enough is enough, we mean we're going to show up for prayer.
There's now a $20,000 reward to find Crystal's killer. Again, this morning, a man brought into custody for questioning at this point. So far, no charges have been filed.
All right, I thought that was pertaining to this story in Peru. But yes, very unfortunate. Again, like I said, that's my stalker music. I'm a Christian, so no, it's not like Satanist or anything like that. It's a little Nazi thing that they do where they keep on playing sirens and noise, and you won't be able to hear your stuff and think. And they could train you up to kind of like reprogram you into an assassin almost, and have you somewhere where you don't want to be. So to do that, you kind of want to put their name in something that shows like you praying for them, but if y'all around them, y'all need to go ahead and, because he's not going to stop. You know, he's stalking y'all to stalk me, you know, and I'm not stalking y'all. I'm not stalking y'all. That's not me. And have y'all to say like, you know, mean stuff to me or whatever. You know, here. Or try to have me to say mean stuff to you, but like initiating fights and instigating fights. The next story we see here, the timeline you're all living is about to collapse. So I wanted to see what this was about. It says here, Saturday Night Live first episode of 2022 attempted to make up for the strange empty show that ended 2021 amid the rise of the coronavirus Omicron variant. The cast was back. The mass audience was back. The show. One moment. Sorry about that. Thank you so much. All right, so I've been streaming for almost 2 hours. Now, this article was interesting. I pulled this one up because it said The timeline you're all living in is about to collapse. Okay, so it says, this is opinion. This is just Miss Wick's opinion. All right, so it sounds like she's just really talking about some sketch shows and stuff. I guess what she's trying to say is like with the new shows coming out. Now, there are some other articles that we can watch. The actual station reported, so I will just mute my mic and unmute the story so we can see what's going on, okay?
Front door. Y'all can come in the patio. Yeah. Seriously. Jesus. All right. Well, here's my front door. Here is the wave. Here are my lovely neighbors. Hello, world. We are surviving the tsunami out here in Pacifica. I can tell you it is happening, y'all. It is happening.
1 to 2 foot waves and high tides are expected. Please stay off the beaches, out of the water, and out of the harbor. Thank you. Attention in the area. This is the Orange County Sheriff's Department. This is a tsunami advisory effective at 7:50 a.m.
Nos alcanzaron 1 a 1.
We have new information tonight in the tragic death of a woman shoved in front of a moving train at the Times Square subway station. The man police say is responsible is under arrest. CBS 2's Kieran Dillon has that story from Midtown.
Jessica, earlier tonight, we got our first look at the suspect in this case. He's been identified as 61-year-old Simon Marshall. He's now been charged with second-degree murder in connection to this case.
Yes, I did.
Simon Marshall spoke out as he was escorted out of the Midtown South precinct Saturday. The 61-year-old is now in custody in connection to the fatal subway push.
This was a senseless, absolutely senseless act of violence.
Saturday, Police Commissioner Keyshawn Sewell and Mayor Eric Adams joined MTA Acting Chair Jano Lieber to condemn the violence that took the life of an Asian American woman. The victim has been identified as 40-year-old Michelle Alyssa Go from the Upper West Side.
This incident was unprovoked, and the victim does not appear to have had any interaction with the subject.
The push happened at the Times Square station around 9:40 in the morning Saturday. Police allege Marshall shoved Go onto the southbound Q train tracks, where she was fatally struck. Before that, officials say he also taunted another woman who managed to escape unharmed.
There's another encounter that our person of interest has with another female rider who is not Asian. He gets in her space and she feels that he was about to physically push her onto the train. As she's walking away, she witnesses the crime where he pushes our other victim in front of the train.
Police say after the incident, Marshall turned himself in. Sources tell us he is homeless and has a previous record of 3 emotionally disturbed incidents. They add he has 4 prior arrests, including several for robbery. Police say there was a current warrant out for his arrest for allegedly violating his parole conditions. Meantime, the violence has left subway riders shaken.
It makes me feel less safe, yes, but it also makes me realize to be more aware of my surroundings.
Last week, the mayor and the governor announced a joint safety plan to make the subway system safer. It includes bringing teams of trained mental health professionals as well as desk and patrol cops into the system so transit officers can ride trains. The mayor is now reiterating that plan.
We're going to continue to modify, we're going to continue to enhance in the days to come until we can ensure every passenger on this system is safe.
As for the victim, we've been told several members of her family are from out of town. They are now traveling to New York in the aftermath of this incident. In Midtown, Karen Dillon, CBS 2 News.
And transit police say there were 6 officers assigned to the Times Square station today. 2 of those officers were on the platform when this incident happened. Governor Hochul tweeted, quote, horrified by the tragedy at Times Square today. My heart is with the victims' loved ones and with all who witnessed and responded to the devastating incident. We will continue working with the mayor to ensure everyone feels safe in our subway system. Some perspective for you here. According to the latest data from the NYPD, there is a more than 100% increase in overall transit crimes in 2022 compared to the same time last year, with 58 incidents in the first 9 days of 2022 compared to 28 in the first 9 days of 2021.
We have a tragic update this morning to a story.
Mi amor, este va a ser un viaje bien movido.
Uso Trulicity una vez y quedó lista para toda la semana.
That we have been following from Connecticut.
New this morning, thieves stealing catalytic converters from a car dealership. Well, police say several people were at the CarMax.
Trulicity empieza a reducir el azúcar en mi sangre desde la primera dosis, ayudando a mi cuerpo a liberar la insulina que aún produce. Y me ayuda a reducir mi A1C.
La mayoría de las personas alcanzaron
estómago severo, cambios en la visión o retinopatía diabética.
13-year-old boy has now died after he was exposed to fentanyl at school. Fentanyl is a synthetic opioid that is up to 50 times stronger than heroin. The teenager got sick last week in Hartford, spent several days in the hospital before he passed away yesterday. 2 other students also reported some symptoms, also exposed to fentanyl. They are okay, have been released from the hospital. Police say they found 40 bags of fentanyl when they searched that school. The bags were found in 2 classrooms and the gymnasium.
Here on the northwest side off Medical Drive and I-10 just before 4 this morning. So a security guard noticed the group trying to steal catalytic converters. Police showed up and surrounded the car lot. They detained 2 people, a man and woman. SAPD's helicopter also joined in on the search, and officers found power tools and 3 converters hidden in the bushes near the scene.
Mourning the loss of a loved one, and Baltimore County Police are investigating after a woman was gunned down yesterday afternoon. It happened in the parking lot of the Catonsville Plaza right off of Baltimore National Pike. WMAR 2 News' Brittany Werner went back today, and she spoke with the people who saw what happened yesterday. Brittany.
Yeah, people who work in the area told me the parking lot was very busy on Thursday afternoon, much like it is every day, but it's been a very somber mood since yesterday when they saw a young woman get shot down.
It's just, we live in a crazy world right now.
Thursday, just before 1 in the afternoon, Baltimore County Police responded to the 5400 block of Baltimore National Pike after they were told a woman had been shot several times.
I just seen the aftermath, yes. And I'm just glad I was in the market.
Mr. Johnson says he was shopping in the area when that shooting went down in the parking lot right outside the store he was in.
It was chaotic up here yesterday. I come out the market from shopping, and about 6 or 7 police up here.
Police say when they responded, they found 26-year-old Diamond Trueheart, who had been shot down and died from her injuries.
I think it's just tragic. I mean, we got enough people getting killed. Now we got the ladies and the kids getting killed.
Police have not named any suspects or a motive concerning what they think led to the shooting, but they did say they're looking into whether it was a targeted incident. However, Mr. Johnson says although his heart goes out to Trueheart's family, he's fed up with what's considered the new normal in Baltimore.
They think January 6th is crazy, but we go through it every day. Life is just, it doesn't mean nothing. Some people say if you live past 25, you lived your life. That's crazy.
Right now, police are asking anyone with information regarding what happened to contact them, and there is a $2,000 reward from Metro Crime Stoppers of Maryland for anyone who has information that could lead police to an arrest.
All right. Morning, the law.
Tom, family members tell me she worked here for 34 years. She was a dedicated employee, loved her job. This really was a second home to her, and they want her to be remembered as a hero, someone who lost her life trying to protect her fellow employees. Shot and killed while trying to protect another employee. Family members tell us Robin Balcom worked at Crackle Barrel for 34 years before she was shot to death at the very restaurant she served for over 3 decades. Around 6:15 this morning, deputies say an employee who just arrived for work was ringing the doorbell, waiting to be let in before the restaurant opened. A Dodge Charger pulled up and a man in the passenger seat got out.
Male got out of the passenger side and approached and asked, "Hey, are y'all open?" She was trying to get inside the door, and he kind of forced his way just to get the door open, was trying to take her purse.
The Harris County Sheriff's Office says that's when Balcom, the manager, let the employee in and pushed back on the door to block the suspect from getting inside. Deputies say that suspect then shot Balcom, who later died at the hospital. Family members tell ABC 13 that she loved her job, her employees, and her family. She leaves behind a husband, 3 children, and grandchildren who they say she absolutely worshipped. They sent us a statement saying in part, "She is our hero, and we hope she will be remembered as a hero because she lost her life trying to protect her employees and Cracker Barrel." The restaurant chain also sending us a statement saying in part, "We can confirm there was a criminal shooting at our Houston store on North Freeway prior to opening this morning, which resulted in our store's associate manager sustaining fatal injuries as she protected other employees from harm." The search continues for the gunman caught on surveillance footage driving off in a 2018 or newer model metallic gray Charger. The family asking anyone with any information to reach out to the sheriff's office. I'm Brooke Taylor, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
An alarming jump in thefts from rail cars across LA. They are up 160% in the past year. In this video, you see the Union Pacific tracks littered with empty boxes once filled with cargo. Eyewitness News reporter Christian Cordero tells us what the company says is driving the thieves behind these brazen raids.
The trash situation today along the Union Pacific line in Lincoln Park is quite the train wreck. Some of the stuff you've ordered, returned, or are waiting on has stopped literally in its tracks.
Just in the last couple months, we've noticed several times when people will just be jumping the tracks, jumping the fence at the tracks, and taking packages right off the train.
That's Joseph. He lives in the area and sees people breaking into the cargo about once a week. Adam, who works with Union Pacific, says they're getting hit way more often.
All throughout the day, through the night, 24/7, like we're here now.
Now, I have a couple of other stories I wanted to actually get through. Okay, so let's do it like this. Let's start off with the crimes that's not as violent. Oh yeah, I wanted to say that criminal, if I didn't know any better.
This really was.
You know how I sometimes go out and I be looking rough? That almost looked like a rough picture of me. So I want to compare it real quick. Because that's the second time I said, you know the picture I had with the, when I got vaccinated? I can't find it. Let me see. Well, it's kind of close to it, but let me show y'all. Because sometimes what y'all don't know is that with the stalking, it gets so bad that they can't stop obsessing with you. Like they they say like a lot of times when stalkers leave people alone, they usually just like drift off somewhere. But because you know, seriously, they can't stop. I mean, they'll have other people stalking you and try to do all this weird stuff to, I mean, you'd be shocked. It's very confusing to understand. Um okay, so here's me, and then here's wait. Wait, we didn't see that one. Oh yeah, then they had the homeless person. Where's the one with this one? So see me here? That's almost like, I guess I kind of dress like that, maybe the silhouette. But sometimes, like, they'll put a negative campaign against you. They'll put criminals out there that, you know, you dress a particular way. They'll have, like, the criminals now all of a sudden kind of favor your, you know, something about you, your outfit or whatever. Yeah, they just trying to prove, they just proving that you like a LeBron in their life. It's sad, but hey. All right, so I came across this story, talks about a Vex tycoon's son is charged with, he's charged with technically taking his billionaire Bill Gallagher son Marco, girlfriend Rachel S. Schimberg with felony grand theft following allegations that the pair had proliferated more than $100,000 from the family-owned bank. So this sounds like you don't want to get involved with rich kids and they want to be defiant towards their parents and they start acting like, you know, this is my father, he ain't gonna say anything. Well, you and him can end up in the big house for real. Or you hate to be a rich kid and you get involved with the misguided friends that trying to convince you that you can steal from your folks and it ain't gonna be nothing because, you know, they're your parents. And you see what can happen if you do that. But it says the legal trouble started in May when officials of Poppy Bank reported that Marco was fraudulently accessing an account reserved for the bank shareholders to pay credit card bills and make purchases on Amazon. All right. So, the next story was about a bank employee. Says here that he was sentenced for almost $1 million worth of fraudulent loans. It says Savannah, Georgia, a former Georgia bank worker has been sentenced to federal prison for using the stolen identities to take out more than almost $1 million in fraudulent loan. The judge ordered a 10-month prison sentence for Jason McMillan of Savannah after he pleaded guilty to bank fraud. McMillan, 46, used his job as a commercial loan officer at the Chatham County Bank to take out 4 loans between 2009 and 2019. The U.S. Attorney Office for Georgia's Southern District said in a news release, prosecutors say the loans were taken out using someone else's identity and fraudulently state the money was being used to buy industrial farm equipment. Their amounts ranged from almost $160,000 to $250,000. The bank alerted authorities after an internal investigation flagged the loans. And then it says McMillan admitted in court to spending at least $200,000 of the loan for personal use. In addition to his prison sentence, he was ordered to pay $100,000, a little over $100,000 in restitution. So it says here that in Brooklyn, a robbery suspect who had a brazen escape from police custody after being brought to a local hospital last week is back behind bars. Police said Hakeem Williams, 21, of Saratoga Avenue in Brownsville, turned himself in at the 73rd Precinct, a source familiar with the case said Sunday morning. Williams was initially apprehended by 73rd Precinct officers on January 12th in connection with the robbery. But soon after the arrest, cops said he complained of chest pains and sought medical attention. EMS brought him to Brookdale University Hospital for treatment. But while waiting in the emergency room, authorities said Williams, who had been handcuffed with his hands behind his back at the time, was able to move his hands forward and made a run for it. Now, I also want to admit that when the stalker calls EMS, do know that sometimes they'll just play a recording of it, but sometimes they are literally calling them and getting them to run their sirens just like a little quarter of the street and on that spot. But I do just wanted to add that sometimes they just play a recording. So sometimes it doesn't mean like your police precinct is not doing their job. Sometimes it's like some people, you may look at you like LeBron and feel like you just, or they just crazy is crazy does, whatever, however you want to say that. Cleaning service owner stole 2 credit cards from clients. So it says a woman in Chatmont, Louisiana, who owns a cleaning business, was arrested Friday after she allegedly stole and spent thousands on credit cards from one of her clients. According to a Friday Facebook post from the St. Bernard Sheriff's Office, "40-year-old Kelly Noble was booked with 2 counts of theft. Noble is the owner of Clean Vibes Cleaning Services. Authorities say she stole 2 credit cards from a client's home and made unauthorized purchases from 2 local retailers totaling more than $2,400. St. Bernard Sheriff James Pullman told residents to be mindful of who they let in their homes after Noble was apprehended. Always make sure you check people out before you allow them unsupervised access to your home and personal belongings." Well, you want to make sure that you check people before you allow them access to you or your home or your family members. If possible, get recommendations from friends and family and ask for references, because you don't know how people handle themselves in different situations. So right here we have a man that was trapped in a chimney. A family in Silver Spring, Maryland, received an unfortunate surprise when they discovered a stranger was trapped inside their chimney while attempting to enter their home. A 24-year-old man was wedged inside the chimney for at least 4 hours before firefighters were able to rescue him. Authorities applied for 4th-degree burglary charges against the suspect, whose identity was not released until the courts accepted charge. On January 8th, around 3 a.m., residents inside the home called and because they heard pounding and knocking inside the home. Then they called them again around 5. Then when the cops came, they heard noises from the chimney, voices. Then 24 firefighters came out, and they had spent more than an hour removing the wall and brick around the chimney to release the suspect. who was not authorized to be there. And this is a picture. So they had they said you could see his feet. Right here we have a man that was actually stabbed at the New York City subway station. A 30-year-old man was stabbed in the buttocks inside the Grand Street substation late Saturday. Cops said the incident happened around 10:40 p.m. when the victim was approached by an unidentified attacker and stabbed. This is probably a different story, right? Yeah, because it's a different story, and I played this one. Oh, well, it's just went to a different one. Okay, but so the suspect later fled on foot. The victim was transported to NYC Health Plus Hospital Bellevue and is expected to recover. The stabbing came hours after a 40-year-old Asian woman was killed after she was shoved in front of an oncoming subway train at the Times Square station. So right here we see a 40-year-old man arrested after an 8-year-old girl killed in what Milwaukee police are investigating as a homicide. The incident occurred in the 1800 block of West Highland Ave. The suspect was handling a firearm that discharged, according to a police news release. The gunfire struck the girl, who was taken to a hospital and died. Now, this happened in the Marquette University. They joined the Milwaukee police in responding to the incident. Now, please put down your guns, the mayor said. And if anyone All right, so in Augusta, Georgia, authorities say a suspect is in custody in connection with the Saturday drive-by shooting in Augusta that claimed the life of an 8-year-old girl. The Richmond County Sheriff Office said investigators were able to identify Antone Redfield, 21, of Augusta, as being involved in the murder of Aubrey Anthony outside her home at the Dogwood Terrace Apartments off Old Savannah Road. Authorities said a warrant has been issued for Redfield, who's already in custody in Columbia County. Redfield is one of the 3 men detained earlier this week in Grovetown after a traffic stop. The Grovetown Police Department reported that at about 2:45 p.m. Monday, its officers assisted the U.S. Marshal Service and the Richmond County Sheriff Office in a traffic stop at 5035 Riceboro Road in reference to murder investigation. A search of the vehicle revealed multiple firearms and several dozen financial transaction cards belonging to multiple individuals, none of whom were passengers in the vehicle, police said. A large amount of U.S. currency was also found, as well as narcotics and drug paraphernalia. Investigators with the Grovetown Police Department say they secured arrest warrants Tuesday for Redfield possession of a firearm by a convicted felony, Devontae Juwan McNeil, 25, financial transactions card theft. Henry Ramon Beach, 20, financial transactions card theft. card theft. Redfield is in custody at the Columbia County Detention Center, and a hold has been placed on him for Richmond County authorities. Now, says right here, suspect arrested for killing a 5-year-old in Jasper County. Jasper County, South Carolina, a suspect has been arrested for killing a 5-year-old boy in Jasper County. According to the sheriff's office, 20-year-old Gregory Harris Scott of Beaufort, South Carolina, has been arrested for the drive-by shooting that killed 5-year-old Andre Robinson on December 28, 2021. Robinson was playing in his room at the time of the shooting. Harris was arrested on January 13, 2022 in Macon, Georgia by the Bibb County Sheriff's Office. Harris is in the Bibb County, Georgia law enforcement since awaiting extradition back to Jasper County. For me, I feel like in order to stop this crime, you have some bad individuals that are putting folks up to do stuff. If y'all could grab those individuals and mute them, then this would decrease the crime drastically. But if we feel like these kids are just getting up one day and just want to just do drive-bys just because it's cute, they being put up to do this. You gotta find that bad apple somewhere. There's a bad apple somewhere out here in these big cities. They work it. My hunch is they are. It's just like really organized crime. And I guess it's hard to find out who exactly doing it, because I believe it's like doing this because it seems like it's like marginalized people ended up dead. It seems like it's because those people are tied into someone's wealth some kind of way. So a lot of these people may be dying of martyrs. A restaurant worker stabbed, fatally shoots assailant. A restaurant employee was stabbed before fatally shooting his attacker early Sunday morning in downtown Detroit. Detroit police said there was an altercation between the employee at Prime and Proper Restaurant and the person who ultimately stabbed him about 12 a.m. Sunday. The restaurant employee then shot the 52-year-old attacker. Woman, 24, stabbed to death while working at a luxury LA furniture store in random daytime attack. So most people thinking of, hey, you know what? Let's start my life over. When I read this, I felt different because you know, most people want to start their life over, want to leave this town and go to another town. And the first thing you kind of want to do is like work at the fancy neighborhood and kind of smudge elbows with the up and up folks. And then for this to happen, it's just marginalized. And you may say you don't know if this woman is marginalized or not. I'm just saying that gender-based violence does not, why would they care about like the socioeconomical status of the female? The only thing that matters is her vulnerability. But the story reads that, and we pray for her family, and that for, you know, God to send a comforter to comfort them in their time of need. It says here, 24-year-old woman was dead after being stabbed while working at the high-end furniture store in Hancock Park. Brianna Cuffer of Pacific Palisades was killed Thursday when an unknown assailant entered the store Croft House on North LaBrie Avenue and stabbed her. The Los Angeles Police Department said in a statement Friday. Cuffer was found dead by a customer who reported their findings to police. The suspect, who remains at large, fled through a back door after the attack, according to the LAPD surveillance footage obtained by multiple local news outlets shows them calmly walking northbound down the alley behind the scene. So they actually do have footage. Cuffer was a graduate of both Brentwood High in Los Angeles and the University of Miami, her family said. She's been working on an architectural degree at UCLA. Here's another story about victim identified, suspect found dead in Augusta, double homicide. Now, I found an article about this where it said pretty much there was females in the same parking lot. It wasn't clear if it was the same car or not, but it was two females dead in the same parking lot with gunshots through the car. And the guy who did it turned himself in, and he was a part of the gang. So we don't know if this is gang initiation, killing off marginalized, or what is this, but it just doesn't seem right. So officials say a third female was shot and taken to the hospital and is expected to survive. There were several children inside the residence when the incident occurred, but they were unharmed. On Saturday morning around 3 a.m., investigators tracked the suspect, Terrence Latrell Booker, 26, to a room at Gordon Inn and Suites on 906 Molly Pond Road. And investigators and deputies arrived to the scene and approached the room. A single gunshot was heard coming from inside the room. The SWAT team responded to the scene and made entry to find Booker deceased from an apparent self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yeah, they said that he took himself out. He killed two females, almost three, and then took himself out. Officer grabbed female cop by the throat after she pulled him off handcuffed man. As seen on video, a Florida police officer grabbed the female by the throat after she pulled him off a handcuffed man. Now, I'm sorry I wasn't able to get through the chat. Looked like we done went somewhere in Russia with this. But I was trying to see what time did I start this. So it's been well over 2 hours. Well, I'm almost done with the other articles I had pulled. So just want us to be informed with what's going on. Because a lot of times people make different decisions if they knew what at least the news company is putting out there. Now, I'm not saying this is all the news, and if there's anything else, it doesn't matter. All I'm saying is let's grab what we can, because I do want to be able to kind of go into deeper and look at our stories. As seen, and back to the story, as seen on the video, a Florida police officer grabbed a female cop by the throat after she pulled him off a handcuffed man. The chief is saying the officer is in question, Sergeant Christopher Pugliese, stepped way over the line. I'm sorry. I find this behavior to be disgusting. I think the video speaks for itself. This all started after a man hit people outside of a shop and saved convenience store. Officers said in the report, police arrested him for aggravated battery, handcuffing him behind his back. But as clear from footage dated November 19th, they seem to be having trouble getting him into the cruiser. Police arrived and walked up to the scene. He pulled out pepper spray and aimed it at the man, who retreated further into the back seat. Citing the ongoing investigation, police removed audio from the footage and centered faces beside Pugliese, but Rosa told the outlet that the sergeant said something on arrival that escalated the situation when calm was required. So there's a video out there, and we have get to look at it when we, let's see if we click right here, we might get to it. Okay, here we go.
Free Tax USA. Free? Let's break that down. Free federal return for everyone, and that means any deduction, any credit, free, with a max refund guaranteed. And state, $14.99, no matter what. No matter how complicated your taxes are, we provide step-by-step guidance with incredibly accurate and secure software that people seem to really like. With millions of free returns filed, why not try it out? FreeTaxUSA.com.
This is 7 News at 6. Now at 6, the 7 Investigates exclusive. An alarming development during an arrest, and it involves 2 police officers.
The initial contact between the sergeant and the officer was his hand against her throat.
Tonight, what led up to this troubling turn?
Hello and welcome, everyone. A Sunrise police sergeant is off the streets and under investigation after an incident involving another officer.
Investigative reporter Karen Hensel is at police headquarters to bring us her exclusive now. Karen.
Craig and Belkis, we have all seen plenty of police body-worn camera videos, but not quite like this. What started as an arrest ended with a police sergeant putting his hands on the neck of one of his own officers. It's behavior the police chief calls disgusting.
Sunrise Police released this body camera video to 7 Investigates after a tip led us to ask about a November 19th incident. Citing an ongoing internal affairs investigation, the department turned off the sound and obscured almost all the faces, except for one, Sergeant Christopher Pugliese.
When he went up and put his hand on her throat, what was your reaction?
I find this behavior to be disgusting. I think the video speaks for itself.
Just a minute earlier, the body cam shows a man being walked by officers to a patrol car. He was being arrested for aggravated battery after police say he hit people outside this convenience store. The man under arrest is already in handcuffs, but officers appear to be having difficulty getting him into the car. Around that time, Sergeant Pugliese pulls up and walks up to the suspect. Sunrise Police Chief Anthony Rosa says he could not tell us what the sergeant said, but says it made the situation worse.
I find it to be inappropriate and unprofessional because what he did is he escalated the situation when calm was actually required.
You see the cuffed man back away in the back seat as Sergeant Pugliese leans into the car.
And we saw that he had pepper spray in his hand. Was he threatening to use that on the cuffed suspect?
So the pepper spray was out and aimed at the suspect.
Suddenly, an officer races towards the sergeant and pulls him by the belt with both hands away from the car. Sergeant Police, pepper spray still in one hand, grabs the officer with the other and pushes her against a patrol car.
The initial contact between the sergeant and the officer was his hand against her throat.
Watch again from both camera angles. It's quick, but the sergeant's hand is at her neck before moving to her shoulder. Seconds later, he walks back to the car with the cuffed suspect, opens the door and closes it before pointing at the officer and saying something. Chief Rosas says the young officer did the right thing.
So I'm very proud of this police officer. She took some definitive action. I can only imagine what she must be feeling. She's a newer officer and he's a very senior sergeant.
Just how new? The 28-year-old officer, who we are not naming, has been with Sunrise Police for just over 2.5 years. Compare that to 46-year-old Sergeant Christopher Police, a 21-year-plus veteran of the force.
If one of us had ever grabbed an officer by the throat, we would be arrested, we would be put in jail. Why has that not happened with him?
So there's some details of the investigation that I've not disclosed that I'm unable to disclose right now. And if any of the information that comes up during the investigation rises to a level of criminal behavior or criminal conduct, then we'll address it appropriately.
There is a new state law requiring departments train officers on their duty to intervene if they see another officer using excessive force. Chief Rosa says Sunrise already has policies requiring intervening and de-escalation.
This officer intervening and stopping a situation from getting any worse is a direct reflection of the training that we do with the police department. And I think that it's important to note that the behavior is very unacceptable by the sergeant, but the behavior of the officer that intervened is exactly what society is asking their police officers to do right now.
And while the department does realize the public is going to want to see and hear all of the video for themselves, the chief offers this.
I'm not releasing the audio at this moment in time. However, once the investigation is done, I am committed to being completely open and transparent, and everything will be released.
So we looked into Sergeant Police's internal affairs history with Sunrise Police. He had 2 allegations of excessive use of force nearly 20 years ago. He was cleared on both. As for this case, he is on desk duty and declined to comment through his union. Live in Sunrise, Karen Hensel, 7 News.
Thank you. I'm back. Then we have here, so it says suspect kills 3, including children, shoots up at food line. So this happened in Wilmington, North Carolina. 3 people, including 1 child, are dead after a shooting outside a grocery store in North Carolina on Saturday. The shooting happened at the Food Line grocery store in Wilmington around 4 p.m. Police said. Officers found another person alive. Officers found another person alive with self-inflicted gunshot wounds. That person is suspected of killing the others, and is believed to have been is believed to have a personal relationship with the 3 victims. Wilmington Police Chief Donnie Williams said to Star News the suspect was transported to the hospital. This is a very unfortunate, tragic incident, and our hearts and thoughts go out to the families that were impacted by this. My problem is just the fact of this just being a mirror image from town to town, with these guys having access to these girls. Didn't they say with that that incident that happened, for some odd reason with the concert, they was using day laborers that were not being trained. Those were supposed to have been the security guards when they was in actuality just getting paid, or just getting paid by going to a concert and pretending to be security, but just really getting in there for free. And although they was told they was gonna make an X amount of dollars, they didn't make any money. And they was told they had to bring family members. And I wonder if that kind of correlates with these stories we keep on hearing with these guys, taking the lives of their baby mothers. Does that not seem like it kind of correlates some sort of way? And then that is in every town. I believe this has to deal with movie stars or some type of money. Because how can these people afford guns and stuff like that? Or even a knife? I mean, like, none of that stuff is free. Okay, so Crime Stoppers needs your help in solving a double murder and a drug deal going bad. In San Antonio, police and Crime Stoppers are asking for help to solve a double murder that took place on the northwest side back in 2020. The murders took place around 8:45 p.m. on January 15, 2020 at a parking lot on Cabura Road near Timber View Drive. Police said Kyle Warner, Vanessa Majusa, and another man drove to a parking lot to buy drugs after setting up the buy on the social media site Snapshot. Something happened during the drug transaction that escalated and led to Vanessa Mucha and Kyle Warren both being shot. Either survived their injury. The suspect drove off towards Timber View Drive after the shooting and were never found. Police say they were in four-door dark color 2004 or through a 2008 Acura TL. Anyone with information is asked to call Crime Stoppers at 210-224-STOP, and that stop is 7367. So we'll just leave this right here for a minute at least. I'm just going to go into mute real quick. And when I say this, I mean information on the screen, so that I can, so that people could kind of, look and see. And I guess this is also what, other nationalities have to do, put out stories around the same time every year that person was missing or, deceased, to find information of what happened. But let's leave this up here for about a minute just so people maybe can look, blow up the picture or whatever, write down a number, and call. Please call if you have any information. We also want to, pray for the family during a, grieving time of grief. All right, so we also see a shooting on the Amtrak leads one day in Missouri. A Missouri man has died from a shooting occurred on an Amtrak train Friday. Richie T. Aaron Jr. was identified as the victim of a gunshot wound in the incident, which took place after 9 p.m. local time in Independence, Missouri, reported a Kansas City news station, which cited police. Police have not identified the suspect who fled the scene after the shooting. A potential motive has not yet been released by authorities. There were no injuries to the other 81 passengers and the Amtrak crew, and they were all provided alternate transportation to their final destination, Amtrak said in the statement. Amtrak takes its responsibility for safe travel seriously. Aaron, who is from Independence, died at the scene of the shooting. The Lee Summit Police Department said the shooting occurred on a train line that travels between Kansas City and St. Louis. For me, it's a movie star that's out here, some kind of elite person, and they're able to go around marginalized people and pretty much create domestic terrorists by saying, hey, you know, and then stick a gun in their hand and make women and marginalized people feel all this terror and stuff like this. But basically what the smartest thing to do is, wherever these people live that's committing these crimes, wherever they was living at, just to put some folks down there, some ears to the street to find out. Because what they basically saying is that folks are just coming up with the idea, just acting up. Now in Spanish, in Spain, Barcelona, the Spanish police have arrested the leading smugglers of heroin into European country in a bus that took a total of 10 people into custody and confiscated 55 kilograms of drugs. Now, police said that the ring based in the central province of Toledo brought large quantities of heroin from sources in the Netherlands and then distributed drugs to dealers in part of central and western Spain. Officers read 8 properties. So that's kind of sounds bad. That's Spain's Pablo Escobar. The ringleader was, he's a global drug ring directed by the Turkish citizens from Idlibor. Now we have some smugglers that smuggled more than $340,000 worth of cocaine in baked beans tins. It says 2 men have been jailed for attempting to smuggle $341,875 worth of cocaine in baked beans and condensed coconut milk tins. Daniel Kelly and Stephen Gillow were sentenced to a total of 15 years in prison at Snaresbrook Crown Court, London, on January 12th. I don't know, guys. It just seems like it's a strong possibility that, let's say I'm the kind of person that just wants to fight, just want to get people in trouble, and they start off with that little Nazi stuff, and as I was explaining to folks, it could have you in trouble because it'll make you like kind of lash out. And so maybe they getting people to the point of they gonna lash out and stick them out places on unexpected and marginalized folks, just because they're just supposed to be put out the church, and United States needs to figure out a way of coming together so that we can resolve this, because I think we all have to be stand-up citizens and look and keep our eyes and ears to the ground so we'll know what's going on around us, because there's too many people that just take life for granted and they don't care anything about their life. And you definitely don't want to be around these people, but unfortunately you can never know that until the day they decide to take the turn that they can never return from. So this happened in London. They had about now it says Kelly and Gillahu, both age 43, sent two parcels described as 10 goods from St. Lucia in the Caribbean to Southeast London in December 2018. However, subsequent forensic inspections found that the parcels contained 2.742 kilograms of cocaine. The men were able to reseal the cans using machine can sealer and blank tin lids they had bought earlier. Both men in December flew from London to St. Lucia, where they told officials they were going on holiday, and a can sealer was documented inside their luggage. Kelly mailed the parcels, later discovered to contain cocaine, from a post office in St. Lucia, where he used a fake driver license as identification. And they was charged for importing Class A drugs into the UK. And this is a strong and clear message to those intended on penetrating our borders that offenses of this nature are taken very seriously, and we will leave no stone unturned in bringing them to justice. And I think that, we So 5 officers resigned. Another one was fired after investigations of officially offensive text and drug use. And now it says these actions do not reflect the core values of this department. We believe that the results of the investigation reflect our commitment to transparency. Now, I guess I could readjust the platform I'm using and maybe summarize these cases, but a lot of times I want to just read it for myself, and that'll help, because everything has its own situation. Just because you see apples, I may see oranges with this. So So they got domestic abuse allegations. Salem police investigation in December that officers had been arrested for allegedly assaulting a pregnant woman although the charges was dropped. And then we saw this actual video about the 13-year-old who was hospitalized Thursday following apparent exposure to fentanyl at a Connecticut middle school, died Saturday. That was a synthetic drug, and 2 other triggered overdose reactions. Now, the Hartford police said the student's death was a result. I'm gonna mute it. I mute the sirens and stuff just because that's proper courtesy. Like, I don't believe that God wants me to live this earth by making your life hell. And it's unfortunate that there are people out here who get paid to do that. There's no way someone should be sitting here and get compensated for making other people's lives miserable. Intentional torts, intentional victimization. Everybody doesn't have $1 million to spare on legal lawyer fees to sue folks. The law just should be designed to where this cannot happen. After a third time for someone, and then the problem is it's hard to figure out how to do this because these people definitely don't want to go to jail, so they'll lie and do this, that, the third. But I think 3 unlawful contacts of a person. See, the main problem is that in hindsight, the sirens, okay, is that killing you? Somebody trying to harm you? No, it's just noise that's making you feel like you're being raped or something, because you don't want contact, but they finding other avenues to contact you with. And so I'm just right now praying for all of us sisters, all of us marginalized, as we're out here trying to run this race that they call life. For some odd reason, we still have people throwing hurdles, and now these hurdles have become weapons, and now it's technically like us marginalized folks are playing gladiator games nowadays. And this is clearly because of our gender, and in some instances our gender and our race. In some instances our gender, our race, and our socioeconomical statuses. And we need to band together and ask the government to make laws that men cannot stalk us. Men cannot just move across the street from us and just watch us. Men cannot be in a home with dozens of kids and just have buses coming in and out of that, and then we're wondering why kids are missing in the neighborhood coming back 2-3 days later. We got pedophiles. And if stuff doesn't change, we could say if they don't make a law, because we shouldn't even have to go up there and ask for no law. It should be common sense. They made a law for these Oriental women. Why they can't make laws for marginalized women? And it almost feeds along the lines of either people are blinded by the light or people are worshiping man and mammon. It's one or the other. But we the people can make the change. We can make the change. if we start caring about other people. People don't watch women being attacked. If we can't stop the attack, at least we should have enough bravery to at least put it on Facebook Live or record it and call the police. Because you almost need more proof that something happened than anything. Because they could find those guys or girls. So if we have faith just to see the faith is the size of a mustard seed, we could tell this mountain to be removed and it will be removed. I don't know what's got into people to where it's so easier for you to go hurt somebody than it is for you to just go check yourself and go work on yourself. Now, that's not to say with hindsight perspective that some people are being put out there on the limb and don't know how to stop it. And I think we need more training, train these kids to understand, like, how can that happen? You know, when you have domestic terrorism, you have these guys who are very good at pretending to be mom's boyfriend or dad's girlfriend, but in actuality, they're like predators. And they're, you know, putting stuff in people, food to ingest that makes them, it's just hovering over people's heads is like a real nice way of saying it without, it's a real nice way of saying it without being too graphic, because, you know, the thing about criminals is that they tend to like to hear how they discomfort you and stuff like that, and how you feel about what they're doing and saying. But do know that all things work together for those who are called according to God's purpose. And what that means is that count it all joy when you fall into diverse temptation, knowing that, you know, the Lord went through the same thing. You know, I would never ever get up one day and just let somebody force me into killing somebody just because, you know, for clout, in so many words. And we need to be mindful that that's not everybody's scenario. That apparently we got more people than not that are willing to do things that can cause people sadness for their delight. And so all I'm trying to say is, ladies, pat yourself on the back, man, because, you know, do understand it looks like it's just one dude bothering you, but be mindful that they working in like teams of 40, 30 people counting it. Some people don't even know they're a part of the team, and not they using you against yourself. So most people are willing participant, but, you know, like I said, I don't want to go on and on and on and on. But women, you know what? I think when you look at it, you know, it's called mortem. I mean, what choice do people have when someone just pulls up and just let, you know, just You know, nobody was arguing, nobody was sad, nobody was hurt. It's just somebody decides to play God. And we can't just allow that to cause us emotional distress. Although it's extremely disturbing, because we're all going through this together spiritually. We're all together in this. You know, it hurts you, it hurts me. And it's real hurtful when you got the men that's supposed to be in your own household that's supposed to be your protector, but they're your predators. And I understand that some men have experienced a lot of bad stuff through women, and so they have a hard time like relating to women. But what do you think's going on with black women? Don't you think we've had it a little too hard with these black guys? And we forgive y'all, but you know, we can't ask for forgiveness on the other end. And the truth is, I don't know how rare those stories are or not of women abusing men, you know, young boys. But I'm pretty sure it happens. It happens. But, you know, is it more rare than with the other side of the fence? So I just want to go ahead and thank you so much for tuning in. And if you like this, you know, maybe you know some older folks probably that kind of want the paper read to them, and they can have it in front of them and read along with me. Some people like that. Go ahead and share this with them. Let them help them to subscribe. Also, just to support me so I can keep on bringing content to you, because this is time consuming. You know, please go ahead on and you know, break into those pockets and meet me over there at the Cash App, and go ahead and leave me a tip or something. Anything that your heart moves on you to give, it'll definitely be greatly appreciated. Like the word says, give and it shall be given to you, pressed down, shaken together until it overflows. Also, definitely thank you so much for tuning in. Please comment, like, share, subscribe, and until next time, stay blessed.